Gweek seems like a funny name for a village, but it held my favorite pub of the trip. We booked a B&B for the next 2 nights at nearby Barton Farm with our host, Penny Jenkin, who made a reservation for us for dinner in the village pub called the Gweek Inn. The food was excellent, and we participated in the pub's quiz night, which consisted of a general knowledge quiz. We had a hard time because most of the questions were centered around British government and celebrities. However, there was one question about Columbus Day that we did know the answer to, and believe it or not, we didn't get the lowest score of the evening. We met a very friendly family who told us of an incredible scenic spot that they loved called Kynance Cove, and that we should visit it if we had the chance. The next day was April 6th, and I needed clean clothes, so we found a laundrette in the nearby village of Porthleven. I did some laundry, while Karen and Ralph walked through the village down to the beach. Once the laundry was done, we were off to Treba Garden, a Cornish ravine garden. Treba is a Celtic word meaning the house on the bay. The garden is a steeply wooded ravine that descends down 200 feet to a private beach on the Helford River. We were just a bit early for most of the flowers, but we were still impressed with the quiet beauty of this garden. We then made a stop in Cadgwith, a small fishing village on the southeast coast. It has a sheltered harbor and a steep street with thatched cottages on either side. It also has a few fishing boats still catching crab, lobster, and small quantities of local fish. Cadgwith was also the setting for a 2004 independent movie called Ladies in Lavender starring Judi Dench and Maggie Smith. It's a story about 2 spinster sisters who rescue a shipwrecked stranger who is swept up in the cove below the village. This picturesque little village was certainly postcard material. On our way back to Gweek, we decided to take the advice of the family we'd met the night before in the pub and investigate Kynance Cove. We were skeptical as we walked down the path to the cove, but as we rounded the bend we were awestruck as one of the most beautiful coves in Cornwall came into view. Brilliant turquoise water and white sand made this, for me, truly one of the most memorable places we'd visited. Kynance is Cornish for gorge or ravine. We climbed down the ravine onto the beach and up the other side and found some shaggy Scottish Highland cattle. Ralph insisted on getting a closer look, but they seemed a bit shy and moved away quite quickly. We wandered the meadow and took in the gorgeous view, then headed back toward Gweek. We had one last meal at the Gweek Inn before retiring at the Barton Farm B&B for the night. Leaving Cornwall on April 7th, we drove northeast toward Dartmoor National Forest. Along the many roads in England, there are rest stops of sorts, usually with a place to fill up with petrol and some sort of eating establishment. One such establishment that had been recommended to us was Little Chef, so at one point we decided to try it out. We were astounded at the prices. I actually paid close to $11 for a quarter-pound bacon cheeseburger. No fries, no drink, just the burger. From then on, we dubbed it Little Thief. Dartmoor is the setting for Sherlock Holmes' most famous case, The Hound of the Baskervilles. With its misty moors and rocky outcroppings, you can easily see how a good mystery could be woven here. The moors are also the home of the famous Dartmoor ponies. There's a misconception that these ponies are wild animals. However, this isn't completely true. They all have owners, but the vast majority are just untamed. Our B&B for the night was Higher Vinton Farm in Whitcomb-in-the-Moor. Our host, Helen Hicks, only had this night available, and Ralph had been trying for literally 20 years to book a room here. The 16th century thatched farmhouse was once the home of British author Beatrice Chase. She passed the farm on to Helen's father Peter, who is now semi-retired, and leaves the operation of the B&B to Helen. In the nearby village of Whitcomb, the Church of St. Pancras was of particular interest to Ralph, his last name being Pancratz and all. We're not sure how saintly Ralph is, but St. Pancras was certainly good enough to have a church built in his honor. I took the time to mail a few postcards and then we continued east.